We continue on where we left off last week with this nice cleaned up data set from that horrible data structure that we had before. And this time what we're looking to do is we're looking to kind of put these into a league table. So for each match day, where do the teams end up in the league after they've played their game, after they have their results. So we need to do a little bit of restructuring of this data because at the moment we've got a row per result, whereas we want to actually have a row for each team that played, how many points they got from that match, how many goals they scored for their team, how many goals were scored against them, so on and so forth. So our first job here is to just pivot this data, so taking the home team and the away team into that pivot so we can see that we have our team name and we have whether they were away or at home. So then I found it easiest to think about what goals were scored for and against. I know that that's slightly different order to the requirements, but for me that made most sense. So I just wrote a quick calculation, or two quick calculations really. So the goals for, so if our pivot one names contains the word home. So if the team were at home, then the goals that they scored for their team was the home score, otherwise it's the away score. And then basically the opposite way round for the goals against. So if it's the home team, then we take the away score, that would be the goals against them, otherwise take the home score. And that then gives us these two fields, so we can then get rid of the home or away team and this home and away score. So basically, for example, before we get rid of those additional fields, we can see that in this game between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest, then we can see that it was 2-1 to Arsenal. So in the goals for the Arsenal row, it's a 2, and goals against is 1, and that is the reverse way round for Nottingham Forest because they had 2 goals scored against them and they scored 1 goal. So basically just kind of taking these numbers and flipping some of them around based on what we need to do. So we get rid of those additional fields to keep it kind of tidy as we're building. The goal difference is then super simple. It's just the goals for minus the goals against, so another calculated field there. So we can see that for each match that they've played. And then we can work out the points that they received for each match. So if they won, lost or draw, basically. So we can see that the points would be, if the goals for is greater than the goals against, that means they won, they got 3 points. Else if the goals for is equal to the goals against, they drew, so they got 1 point. Otherwise, they just get 0 points because they lost. So that's nice and simple there. And now it comes to the point where we're kind of thinking about it as a league table. So after each of these match days, that kind of goes throughout the season. So how do those points add up? How does the goal difference add up? How does the goals against, goals for add up? And we can do that via running totals. So if I take, for example, let's take the goal difference field just because I can see that. Oh, let's take the points field. That makes more sense, right? We'll take the points field. I would create a calculated field, create a running total, or a running calculation, should I say. We'd do a sum over the points, and we would be ordering that by the match day, so that it goes in order of those matches that are being played. And then we would group it for each team, otherwise it wouldn't make much sense because all the points would be adding together, so grouping it by each team there. And that would be our points running total. But I've already made that calculation. We have to make it separately for the points, for the goals for, goals against, and the goal difference. So 4 of those running total calculations. And then once we have that information, we can make our position field. So what position are they in the league after each match day? So let's take a look at that rank calculation that we have. So we're grouping it by each match day, and we're ranking it based on the descending points, the descending goal difference, running total, both of these are running totals, and then also the team name. So any draws are done in reverse alphabetical order. Lovely, and then we remove all the additional fields that have helped us to get to this point, and we're ready to output the data. So another really fun challenge. Thank you very much for that challenge, Carl, and thank you very much for watching.